All right, today we're going to go on a pretty amazing journey. We're diving deep into the hidden world that's right inside your own body. It's a microscopic ecosystem that, believe it or not, holds the keys to your energy, your mood, even your immunity. We're going to explore how you can work with your biology, not against it, by really understanding a couple of life's most basic operating systems. So let me start with a question for you. What could the actual blueprint of life, your DNA, possibly have in common with getting a really good night's sleep? I know, it sounds like a riddle, right? But the answer connects the most fundamental, ancient part of you to your daily health in a way you probably never expected. Stick with me and let's find out what it is. Okay, so first things first, we have to zoom way in. I'm talking past your organs, past the tissues, all the way down into the nucleus of a single cell. Because this is where the magic happens. This is where we find life's tiny little engines and the very code that makes you, well, you. Think about this. Inside every single one of your trillions of cells, there's this incredible process going on all the time called DNA replication. You can think of it like life's ultimate spell checker. It makes sure that your genetic code gets copied perfectly, with just mind-boggling precision every single time a cell needs to divide. This is the foundation that allows all of life to grow and continue. And this whole thing works like a beautifully choreographed microscopic assembly line. It's amazing. First, you've got an enzyme that acts like a little unzipper, unwinding that famous double helix. Then, another one comes in and lays down a primer, basically telling the machinery, okay, start copying right here. Next up is the star of the show, a builder enzyme that just zips along adding all the new pieces. And finally, a sealer enzyme comes through to make sure everything is perfectly connected, creating a brand new, flawless strand of DNA. Now, I've mentioned the word enzymes a few times, so what are they? Well, just think of them as life's essential workers. They're these tiny protein machines that act as catalysts, making all the chemical reactions in your body happen at lightning speed. Seriously, without them, copying your DNA or even just digesting your lunch would take, forever. They're the engines that make everything go. Okay, so let's zoom back out. Because while those microscopic engines inside our cells are obviously crucial, our biology isn't just about us. We actually rely on a second, equally important system, and that's the trillions of organisms living on and in us. It's time to explore your inner ecosystem. Take a good look at this number, 100 trillion. That's the estimated number of bacteria living in your gut right now. To put that into perspective for you, that's more than 10 times the total number of human cells in your entire body. So in a very real way, you're actually more them than you are you. This huge community of tiny organisms, that's your microbiome. You can think of it as a second genome, or maybe even a forgotten organ. It is absolutely critical for your digestion. It houses something like 70% of your immune system, and as we're now discovering, it has a massive influence on your mood. It really shows that our health is a team sport. But, and this is a big but, here's the problem. This ancient, vital partnership we have is under attack. Modern life has, in so many ways, kind of declared war on our own inner ecosystem. And that's leading to a whole bunch of problems that a lot of us are facing every single day. So who are the culprits? Well, first off, the widespread use of antibiotics, which can be like a bomb going off in your gut. Then there's our super hygienic lifestyles and sanitized food supplies, which mean we're just not getting exposed to the diverse microbes we used to. And maybe most importantly, most of us have lost our connection to the soil, which used to be a major source of all these beneficial organisms. And the consequences of all of this disruption, they're everywhere. It can show up as chronic issues that you might be familiar with, like bloating and gas, but it can also lead to more serious conditions like SIBO. That's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It's where bacteria start growing in the wrong part of your gut, and it can cause a whole cascade of problems. So if our inner ecosystem is damaged, what can we possibly do? How do we start to rebuild? Well, it starts with sending in the right kind of reinforcements. And trust me, not all reinforcements are created equal. This right here is a really crucial distinction. A lot of common probiotics, the ones you see everywhere, they can be great for some people. But for others, especially anyone dealing with something like SIBO, those strains can have a hard time surviving stomach acid, and they might even make things worse by feeding the overgrowth. Spore-based probiotics, though, are different. They form this tough, protective shell that lets them survive that harsh journey through the stomach and actually reach the large intestine, which is where you need them to be. And hey, this isn't just a theory. A randomized controlled trial looked at children with persistent diarrhea. The group that was given the spore-beast probiotic, Bacillus clausii, recovered in just 4 days. Compare that to 6 days for the control group. That's a full 2-day difference. It really highlights the real-world impact of using the right tool for the job.
Okay, so we've sent in the reinforcements. But you can't just send an army into battle without a supply line, right? These new allies, they need food. They need the right kind of fuel so they can thrive and actually do their job.
And that's where resistant starch comes in. I mean, the name says it all. This is a special type of starch that resists digestion up in your small intestine. Instead, it travels all the way down to your large intestine, where it becomes the absolute perfect meal for your good gut microbes. So get this, it's not feeding you, it's feeding them. And the impact of this can be totally life-changing. Just listen to this incredible story from one person. After struggling for years, they started taking resistant starch. The result? They said they were asleep within minutes, they felt fully rested, and their chronic symptoms just disappeared in only 3 weeks. And there it is. That's the answer to our riddle. A healthy, well-fed inner ecosystem can have a profound impact on something as basic as your sleep. And it's not just one person's story. The reported benefits are just astonishing. We're talking dramatically improved sleep, stable blood sugar, feeling fuller for longer, better immune function. It's so clear that when you feed your microbiome properly, it pays you back across your entire biology. So, what does this all mean for you, right? How do we turn all this knowledge into action? Well, it all boils down to a very simple 2-step plan for restoring your inner ecosystem and basically hacking your own biology for the better. Here it is, your 2-step protocol. It's super straightforward. First, you reinforce. By using those resilient spore-based probiotics, you're making sure the good guys actually survive the trip and get where they need to go. Second, you fuel them. By bringing in sources of resistant starch, something as simple as a little raw potato starch and water, you're giving those new allies the specific food they need to set up shop and thrive. And I really want to be clear about this. This isn't about the latest diet trend or some quick fix. This is about something much, much deeper. It's about consciously restoring an ancient symbiotic partnership, a partnership between us and our microbes that's been foundational to our health for thousands of years, but has kind of been forgotten in our modern, sterile world. Which really leaves us with one final thought. We co-evolved alongside these microscopic allies for our entire history. They are a fundamental part of what makes us human. So the question is, in our hyper-clean, sanitized world, are we accidentally engineering our oldest and most important allies right out of existence? And what are the consequences going to be if we succeed?